Hey everyone, in this lesson we're going to break down this brilliant James Brown track.
1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, let's get yourself together. Drive that funky soul. Get up, get yourself together. Drive your funky soul. They're doing it down in that song. Drive that funky soul. They're doing it by the beach.
We're going to break it down into 3 steps. The first step is the chord progression itself and the chord voicings that you saw me using in that short video. Second, we're going to build up to a 16th note strumming pattern. We're going to try the chords with a crotchet rhythm, then we'll build up to an 8th note strumming pattern, and then eventually a 16th note funky strumming pattern. Then thirdly, we're going to take a look at how we can combine rhythm and lead guitar. I'm going to teach you the pentatonic scales that you will need to improvise to this chord progression, but also add some lead guitar licks in between your chord changes. Alright guys, so let's start at the very first step, which is the chord progression itself and the chord voicings. So we need, first of all, a D minor chord. I like to take the full shape of the D minor chord, but take the thick E out of the mix. And I just like to play this D minor chord with the A string all the way down to the thin E. Essentially just taking the D root away from the D minor chord. So let's build that chord together then. We're going to take ring finger and little finger. They're going to go on the 12th fret of the A and D string. Then I'm going to use my index finger and I'm going to bar the bottom 4 strings at the 10th fret. Then that will give me a D minor chord. So our first chord. Second chord is another D minor shape, but we need to take a C note and put that into the bass, into the root of the chord. So we're going to play D minor with a C in the bass. We can do that by grabbing a C note at the 8th fret of the thick E. And then I can take my ring finger and I can bar at the 10th fret of the D string all the way down to the thin E. That gives me my D minor chord there. And I can grab that C note at the 8th fret of the thick E. Try to mute the A string if you can. We're not going to need that, so we can mute that with our left hand fretting hand, and we can mute that with the under part of our index finger. So we started with a D minor chord, moved to a D minor with a C in the bass. Third chord is going to be a B flat major 7. Grab the B flat, the thick E, 6th fret. My ring finger and little finger, they need to go at the 7th fret of the D and G strings. And then we take the 6th fret, of the B string, and that's going to be with our middle finger. Quite a common major 7th chord voice in there, so that was B flat major 7. Then I slid down to an A major chord, a bit like the full shape, usual A bar chord that you might have seen before, but I'm just cutting that down a little bit, and I'm going to play ring finger and little finger in the 7th fret of the A and D string. I'm going to take the middle finger, we're going to place it on the 6th fret of the G, and then index finger goes on the B string, 5th fret. Gives me an A major chord. So that was B minor. Apologies, that was D minor. D minor with a C in the bass. B flat major 7. And an A major chord. Let's try that chord progression with just a really simple crotchet rhythm, just 1, 2, 3, 4. But we're going to change chords every 2 beats. We're going to try it like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And to move one step closer to the 16th note strumming pattern that we need for the funk style that we're trying to achieve here, we're going to take an 8th note rhythm. So we're going to play 1 and 2 and 3 and. 16th note strumming pattern that we need sounds like this, which is one step up from this. So we played a crotchet rhythm, we moved to an 8th note strumming pattern, but the strumming pattern that you saw in the short demonstration video earlier was a 16th note strumming pattern. It helps to practice the rhythm with a down up motion on muted strings. Turn the guitar into a percussion instrument. We can mute the strings with our fretting hand, and it allows us to practice the strumming pattern without needing to worry about our chord shapes. We need to practice with the muting technique of our fretting hand, where we can play some ghost notes and we can play the guitar percussively, which is appropriate for the funk style. And we do that by pressing down the chord and releasing the chord every now and again. When we release the chord, it gives that percussive feel. Now, if you wanted to play lead guitar or guitar solos over this chord progression, we would need to use the D minor pentatonic. Now, the pentatonic scale that you saw me use in the demonstration video earlier was first position pentatonic, and we can break that down now. We can take the 10th fret of the thick E string, then we'd play the 13th fret. A string would be 10 to 12, 10 to 12 on the D string, 10 to 12 on the G, 10 to 13 on the B, and 10 to 13 on the E. Very familiar pentatonic scale shape there. So that's where you can add your lead guitar fills that might be able to link up your chords and make your playing a little bit more interesting.
1, 2, 3, 4. Hands up, get yourself together. Drive that funky soul. Get up, get yourself together. Drive your funky soul. They're doing it down in that song. Drive that funky soul. They're doing it by the beach.